I think for a lot of us as moms, self-care feels like this luxury that we don't have time for. It's something that sounds nice, but it's so far and few between these days because most of the time we're so busy taking care of everybody else that we don't even think about what it would look like to feel cared for, to feel nurtured ourselves. But here's the thing. Self-care does not have to mean running away from your life or booking a spa day. In this episode, I want to show you how I like to weave little pieces of care and restoration into my life so that while I'm loving and serving my family, I'm also feeling very seen, heard, and nurtured myself. Welcome to the Modern Homemaker Mom podcast. I'm your host, Janae Schmidt. If you found yourself here, it means that you're ready to break free from overwhelm, create a peaceful, well-run home, and finally live with more structure, margin, and stability. Here you'll find practical rhythms, real-life systems, and faith-filled encouragement you need to simplify your home and reclaim your time so that you can show up fully for the life God is calling you to. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to another episode here on the Modern Homemaker Mom podcast. If you're new here, whether you found me organically by searching wherever you listen to your podcast, or maybe someone sent you this episode to listen to, I just want to welcome you and say I'm so happy that you're here listening, and I hope that you will be able to grasp so many blessings and valuable feedback through the podcast episodes I share here. I'm your host, Janae Schmidt. I'm a wife, a mother, homemaker, and I have this little online business where I am sharing things to help women like you, homemakers like you, create that peaceful home that feels like your sanctuary here on earth. And most importantly, I'm helping women get out of that survival mode so that they can step into that life that they truly feel they were called to live. So, to jump right into today's episode, I want you to think about this. Imagine you have a beautiful old wooden table. I got a little bit of an analogy to open the episode up with. Now, let's say this table has been passed down for generations and generations. It's been in your family for a long time. It's strong, it's sturdy, it's solid wood, but it needs care if it's going to be kept looking proper and not run down. If you set heavy things on this table nonstop, you're never wiping down the spills, you're never cleaning it, never giving it any sort of attention, over time, the table is going to wear out. It's going to get scratched. It's going to maybe warp, maybe even crack under the weight of all of the things that it has been carrying. Now, that is kind of what hustle culture does to us as women these days. It tells us that we need to keep piling on more and more and more into our lives without ever taking time to care for ourselves, just like that table. And you know what? Yeah, for a while we can hold it all, but eventually we start to feel that strain and we start to feel that weight that we're carrying. We get overstimulated, burnt out, and disconnected from who we really are deep down at the root, who we really are. The thing is, that is not how God designed us to live. He created us with rhythms, times to work, times to rest, moments to pour out, and moments to fill our cups back up. He's demonstrated that himself in the story of creation. But hustle culture tells us to ignore that, to run at full speed, and to believe that stopping means that we're falling behind and that we're being lazy. But today I want to show you 6 simple, life-giving ways to work with God's design instead of against it, so that while you're caring for everybody else in your family, because naturally that's what we want to be, we're nurturers, while we're caring for everybody else, we are also feeling cared for ourselves. So the first point I want to go over is making sure that you have a Sabbath each week, one day of rest. I want that to be prioritized. I've talked about the importance of having a rest day before here on the show, and you're definitely going to hear me talk about it again in the future. But for today, I just want to lightly touch on it because having one day set aside each week for true rest, I'm not just talking here's 10 minutes out of my day. We are designating an entire day for true rest. We're setting aside this day. This is our Sabbath. And this is the key to real restoration. I believe God demonstrated rest when he created the world for a reason, because rest is something that we need. It's not just nice to have or a reward that we can give ourselves for working super hard. Rest is a part of the design God gave for every single one of us. He wanted that for us and he displayed that for us. So of course he wants that for us and he wants us to prioritize it. When we ignore that design, when we're going all the time, go, 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 all the time, 24/7, 365 days a year, we become the overstimulated and burnt out versions of ourselves. A rest day gives you permission to slow down, to not feel like you have to be productive, to be reflective and notice how God showed up for you that week. What went well that past week? What are some things that you can be grateful for? I really don't think that we as a society, as we count our blessings as much as we should. It's so easy to focus on the negative. And so if we're not prioritizing and making sure that we are counting our blessings. I mean, when we were kids, I remember my mom kind of did this practice with us, and she'd say, at the end of the day, we had to pick 3 things we were grateful for. And as a little kid, you're 4 years old, you're like, I'm thankful for my blankie, I'm grateful for apple juice, like all those things. But it's just so important to train your mind to look for the positive things in life, because if we're always searching for the negative, and I mean, it's so easy to see the negative in a world that can reflect sin, like it's a result of sin, but it's also important to look at all of the beauty around us and the way that God has showed up in our lives and the way that he's blessing us. And even in the hard times in our life, like there is so much to be grateful for, but that's a topic for another day. But having a Sabbath and giving yourself that chance to be reflective is that moment to feel blessed by what you've accomplished, to pause and to hear your own thoughts and recognize the Lord's presence in your life. When we skip that, we leave ourselves vulnerable to stress, anxiety, and overload. Now, point number 2 I want to talk about for tips to feel nurtured while you're caring for everybody else is to get in sync with your cycle. Cycle syncing is going to be a massive game changer for you. This is aligning your life with your body's natural feminine rhythm. Cycle syncing is one of the most, I think, overlooked keys to a woman's true success. I mean, ask yourself this as you're listening to me. Have you heard of cycle syncing before? Maybe you are listening to me and you're like, oh yeah, Janae, like I've been cycle syncing for years. I'm very familiar with it, love it. Or maybe as you're listening, this is the first time you've ever heard this concept. But I'm telling you, it is such a game changer. It is amazing to me how God designed our bodies with this beautiful monthly rhythm. And yet so many women aren't even aware of the different phases that we move throughout a month. Sure, yeah, we all know that we have a cycle. I mean, there's obviously physical signs. How else do we get pregnant and have babies and have these beautiful families? But the missing piece is understanding how our energy, our focus, and our emotions shift throughout the month because our hormones are shifting, and how much easier life can feel when we align our homemaking, our schedules, our expectations with those shifts. Like this is your secret ingredient that you have not been adding to the recipe. If you are not aligning your cycle, you're working against your body instead of with it. Pay attention to those clues. Are you feeling more reflective in certain weeks? Are you feeling more energetic? Like maybe you just wake up one morning, you're like, I could take on a big project. Like I feel like I'm ready to go. Then there's times where you might be craving slower days. You just maybe want to binge eat popcorn on the couch and watch your favorite show. Like maybe you're feeling more overwhelmed, or you feel stress easier, or there's days where you want to be social, you want to get out with friends. These are all signals from your body, and they shouldn't be ignored. When we become aware of our cycle and we live in correspondence with it, we're not just honoring how God designed us, we're also opening space to hear his voice and how he's communicating more clearly. And I just think that is so powerful. Now, I will say a little spoiler alert, won't get into it too much right now, but just to let you know, this whole concept of cycle syncing, how to get in line with your cycle, how to apply it to your homemaking and your life rhythms and all the things, that is something that is being added to my course for the fall relaunch. So keep that in mind. It is one of my signature frameworks that I'm adding to the program, and I am so excited about it because I know it's going to help so many women. Now, my point number 3 I want to go on to is understanding the season of life that you're in. This is really important. Another way that you can nurture yourself well is to understand and accept that season of life that you're in. The beauty of seasons is that they're always changing. They never last forever. Like, when was the last time winter went on forever and ever and ever? I'm sure you can't name a time. Like, winter doesn't last forever. It comes to an end. If you're in a hard season right now, crying yourself to sleep at night, praying for answers that haven't come, remember that that season is going to pass, Maybe you're in more of a spring season of growth. You're like climbing this mountain, you're going through the work, working hard towards something new, but you're not exactly sure what's on the other side. Or maybe you're in summer kind of a phase in life where life is full, life is busy, it's beautiful, you're blooming. It's a good thing. Everything's happening in a good way with lots of moving pieces. We also go through those winter seasons, slower seasons, quieter times where we feel uncertain, and maybe you're simply moving forward the best that you can, but you're being more inward. Like, these are all different seasons of life that we go through. So I think pause me right now and just reflect on what I've been talking about and ask yourself, what season of life do you feel like you are in right now? Do you feel like you're in a spring phase, summer, fall, winter? Like, just ask yourself that and reflect on that, because awareness of this is going to be a huge key for you. I do think that awareness changes everything. Like, that is your first step to change, is awareness. It gives you that permission to slow down when it's needed, or to lean into a busy season with grace and a little bit more patience. It opens your eyes to opportunities you might not have seen otherwise. And it also can really deepen your relationship with God, because you're bringing your true season, the season you're going through in life, before Him, because you're aware of it. And now you can acknowledge that and go through life with just a different lens on. Real quick, can I say something that might hit close to home? If homemaking feels harder than it should, like you're constantly behind, constantly resetting, it's not you. It's the lack of method that actually fits your season of life. Which is why I created my signature offer, Modern Homemaker Method, and right now I'm rebuilding it. Not because it wasn't working before, but because it's time to teach the secret frameworks that I have trusted myself for years. The ones that have carried me through every season of life. Busy, slow, pregnancy, postpartum, interrupted, and still hold. Yes, I teach decluttering and cleaning, but this goes beyond surface tips. This course is a full roadmap for building a peaceful, life-giving home built around rhythms that honor your energy, your capacity, and your actual life. This course is closed right now while I finish these powerful upgrades, but if you're on the VIP waitlist, you're going to get early access to the course, VIP-only bonuses that the public will not get access to, as well as sneak peeks as I build this next chapter with you in mind. If you're ready for a method that finally works, you can become one of my VIPs by going to janaeschmid.com/waitlist or tap the link below in the show notes. Remember, this isn't just another course, it's the framework you've been missing, and I can tell you it's going to change your life, because that's what it did for me. Now, back to the episode. Okay, the fourth thing that you can do to feel nurtured while you're caring for everybody else is prioritize brain dumping, clearing that mental clutter. As women, it often feels like there are 367 tabs open in our mind at any given time. We are tracking schedules, we're keeping mental checklists, we're making sure everyone's cared for. I mean, what are we making for supper tonight? Did the dog get fed this morning? Like, that mental load can be so heavy, and especially at night. I've had evenings where I sit down with my husband, we're trying to hang out after the baby goes down, and he's looking at me and he asked me what's wrong, because I'm quiet, and inside, even though I'm quiet on the outside, inside my brain is just racing. And when I have a lot going on in my mind, I tend to be a little bit more inward and quiet. And so he notices that, and it's nearly impossible for me to relax when I'm in that state. So that is why brain dumping has been such a powerful tool for me. What I do is I keep a small journal and a pencil in my nightstand on my side of the bed. And if I hadn't done it earlier in the day, you know, those days where you just feel like, oh, there's just so much to remember. My mind is going 100 miles a minute. There's so much going on through my head. It's great to brain dump and just get it all out. But sometimes I don't have time, or I maybe forget to take the time to do that. So at the end of the day, before going to bed, because I'm one of those people where if I don't kind of have a pressure release valve, I guess, to remove all of those thoughts in my head, I'll just keep thinking about it, and then I will not go to sleep because I cannot get these thoughts out of my head. So what I have done is I have this journal, like I said, in my nightstand, and I try to make sure on those days where I'm feeling a little overstimulated, lots going through my mind, I will write down everything that I possibly can think of that's on my mind. I don't filter it. I just write down absolutely everything until I can't think of anything else. Like, it's amazing that I can actually get to that point where it's like, oh, I actually don't have anything else to write down. Like, I feel like I've dumped everything. But most of the time when I do this, it gives this instant sense of relief. It's like, okay, you know what? I can bless and release this. I can let this go. And it's funny because those things that we just let circle through our minds over and over and over again, we feel like, oh, I can't forget this. I need to remember this, like you just keep thinking of all these things. Once, at least in my experience, once you brain dump it, you've released it. I feel like it's a way of giving it up to God. And I often don't even go back to those pages, and I don't even think about those things that were bothering me or I just couldn't stop thinking about, and I just move on. I think the act of writing this out and brain dumping things is enough. It's like releasing the pressure on your mind so that you can rest without feeling like you have to control or remember everything. And it's been a huge blessing and a great resource and a great tool for me. So I would highly recommend it. Now, tip number 5 is unplug often as you can. Get outside and set boundaries with your screens. Like specifically, if you can set the boundaries with the screens, unplug, that is going to help you so much. And I mean, this point really ties into the first point we talked about with the Sabbath rest, but it's worth saying on its own because we live in a world where screens, technology is just constantly in our face. Notifications, texts, phone calls, social media, advertising. Our brains really don't get a break anymore. It's kind of sad if you think about it too much, but that constant input is so incredibly overstimulating for us. When I feel myself hitting a wall, I look for ways in my life that I can unplug. Now, about a month ago at the time of this recording, I had deleted Instagram from my phone, and I didn't really have a particular date to return set in mind. Honestly, at first, I thought it would just be a couple days, and I was like, let's do a week, and now it's been over 3 weeks, and I just actually today downloaded it back onto my phone because I was like, I should probably check in on my messages and whatnot, but it has been amazing because at the time when I decided I was going to do that, I was feeling like, you know what, my life is very busy. I mean, we're in the throes of summer. We've got camping going on and planning for fall things and all of things. And I was like, I need to find ways in my life that I can unplug. Where are the areas that are not so important that can go on the back burner for a season? We talked about seasons. What can get pushed to the side for now? And so Instagram was one of those things for me because social media in particular can be so draining to me. It can be so distracting, and I find myself getting pulled into that comparison trap. So yeah, 3 weeks later, I have not missed it. So your version of what unplugging looks like might look different. I mean, just as long as you are trying to prioritize time that you're unplugging, taking a walk without your phone, like leave your phone at the house. You don't even need to bring it. Have a family games night with the TV off. Or maybe just stepping outside, watch the sun go down, take 5 minutes to breathe the air. Like these are little moments that are actually going to make you feel like you are fueling yourself. And something that I've really liked to do in terms of like going outside and going for a walk, nature time. I mean, it's always been so grounding for me to get outside in nature and not just like go for a walk. Like I'm not talking like, oh, we're going for a power walk. We're going to throw a podcast in our headphones and we're just going to go power walk. I'm more talking about like, if we're going to be unplugging, let's be really intentional about it. Like notice the small things when you're out there. Notice the birds and how they sound in the trees as they're singing and the smell of the air and the way the wind moves through the leaves. I mean, that probably all sounds a little bit maybe cheesy or cliche, but I can tell you and I can promise you I've done this, and it is such a great way to regulate your emotions and just to bring you back and realize, you know what, everything is so stressful and is overstimulating to me, can get pushed aside, and I'm in the now, I'm noticing things that are in the present, and it just brings you back. These little grounding moments that I've talked about where we are unplugging, we're escaping the stimulation, are moments that we can connect to God and be in creation. And what they do is remind us that we don't have to be available to the world every second of every day. Like if someone texts you, they don't need an instant response. If someone calls you at a time you're busy, maybe you're homeschooling your kids, you don't have to pick up that phone call. Like this is just all little reminders that are super important. Now, the sixth and final tip I have for you today is prioritizing your faith even in the small moments. And I'm sure you've heard this before, how important it is to prioritize our time with God. But as a busy mom, sometimes we don't feel like we have a ton of time to do that. But when we just come up with these, and I'm going to say excuses like, oh, I don't have time for this. I just can't make that work today, or I'll get to it later. Like what happens is our faith starts slipping through the cracks because what we tell ourselves is, if I can't do it this way, or if I can't do it in the way that I had in my mind, then why would I even bother? Maybe before you had children, you had that time, that quiet time for the Bible study, for quietly getting in the Word. And maybe now that doesn't look like a super realistic thing for you, but that's okay. I've learned in my experience since becoming a mom specifically that even 5 minutes with God matters and will make a difference for me. A short devotional in the morning, praying over people in your life as you're folding laundry. Like, just give yourself that time and stillness. Like, fold your laundry, you're folding socks, you're pairing socks, you're folding the tea towels, and maybe this random person comes to your mind, or someone you haven't thought about in a while comes to your mind. That could be God's way of saying, can you pray for this person? Like, that's something in a way that you can implement more God time into your day. Maybe you're listening to worship music while you're making supper. These are all moments that keep your mind turned toward God and remind you that He's part of every piece of our day. Like, He will find us in the mundane. He is always there waiting for us to answer as long as we're there to let Him in. Those deep, extended study times in our Bible, yes, they're wonderful when you can do it, but don't underestimate the beauty and the power of weaving God into the everyday, mundane tasks of homemaking. Now, to summarize everything up, let's recap what the 6 keys we talked about today were. So number 1 was prioritize having a Sabbath each week. Setting aside one day of rest is so essential for full and real restoration and following that design that God gave for our lives. Number 2 was cycle syncing, aligning your homemaking and daily rhythms with your body's natural feminine cycle helps you work with you instead of against you. Number 3 was understanding the season of life that you're in. Having that awareness of where you are right now gives you the permission to live with it with grace and intentionality. Number 4, brain dumping. Release all the thoughts that are swirling your mind, all the stresses, anxieties, things you just seem like you cannot release it. Brain dump it is going to help you clear the mental clutter and then make room for that rest. Number 5, unplug often. Setting boundaries with your screens and getting outside in nature quiets the noise and reconnects you with God's presence. And lastly, number 6, prioritizing your faith. Remember, even 5 minutes with God matters. It's going to make a difference. Small, consistent moments keep you grounded in Him. Now, before you go, one last thing before we close today's episode. You've probably heard me mention this already, but in case you haven't, I'm opening the doors to the newly updated Modern Homemaker Method course this fall 2025. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be so good. I've added even more tools this go around to help you as a student, including how to sync your home with your cycle. Yes, lots of the things we talked about today are going to be in the course. I can take you even an extra step or 2 steps even further than what we talked about today. We're going to take that big leap and we're going to learn so much more about what we talked about today in the course. And I'm going to help you take that strain from your mental load, create margin in your days, and make rhythms that work with you instead of against you. It's going to be amazing. This is how you finally stop running on an empty tank. This is how you escape survival mode and enter the life that you've been dreaming of but didn't think was possible. This is how you have the space, the energy, and the focus to put your energy into what matters most to you in your life, whether that's homeschooling your kids, starting a side hustle business so you can bring in a little bit more income into your family, or doing the bookkeeping for your husband's business. This is what this is all about. It's making that time for these things without feeling like you're barely holding it all together or adding yet another thing to your plate. When you take off the pressure and you relieve the stress and actually care for yourself, you become a healthier, happier version of you, and that ripples out into your home, your family, and your health. And if you join the waitlist right now, you will get deeper discounts than the public will ever see and bonuses that I am not giving to anybody else. So the waitlist are my VIP people. You get exclusive access, exclusive deals, which is amazing. So do not wait to get your name on the list. You can join through the link in the show notes below this episode or type in janaeschmid.com/waitlist in your web browser. Thank you so much for tuning in today, friend. I hope this episode blessed you. And if it did, I'd love it if you could share it with another friend who could use the encouragement and the inspiration. Maybe apply some of the tips that we went over today. I'll see you next week for another episode here. Same time, same place. Did something in today's episode encourage you? If it did, would you take a minute to hit subscribe and leave a quick review? It's such a simple way to support this show and help other homemakers find this encouragement as well. And if you're looking for even more support in your homemaking journey, come join our free Facebook group. Just head over to bit.ly/home routines. Thanks for tuning in today. I'll see you in the next episode.